that no one would believe a train could ever be stolen. No more alarms rung, no bullets were fired. No one screamed. Yet, in those few silent minutes, millions of pounds vanished into the darkness. A red railway signal turned on, where no red light was ever supposed to appear. That single light stopped a moving train, froze time, and quietly signed the beginning of the greatest robbery Britain had ever seen. What makes this night terrifying is not what happened, but how calmly it happened. Because the men behind it didn't rely on violence. They relied on patience, insider knowledge, and the certainty that no beat grows louder. This is the story of how silence became the most powerful weapon of all. Exactly 3 o'clock in the morning, when most of Britain was asleep and the countryside was swallowed by darkness, a single red railway signal lit up in a place where it was never meant to appear. That red light did not warn of danger. It created it. In that moment, a train carrying millions in cash slowed down, not because of fate, not because of failure, but because someone far away had decided that history would stop right there. No gunshots were fired. No alarms screamed. No one ran. And yet, by sunrise, Britain would realize that one of the most daring robberies in human history had already happened. Heartbeat slows. This was not chaos. This was control. In the early 1960s, Britain believed in systems. Trains ran on time. Money moved quietly through the country at night. The Royal Mail was trusted like a religion. Every evening, mail trains carried enormous amounts of cash between cities, relying not on guards or weapons, but on routine and confidence. Nobody imagined that a moving train could be robbed, and that belief was exactly what made it vulnerable. Somewhere in London, in smoke-filled rooms and whispered conversations, criminals were paying attention. Among them was a man named Bruce Reynolds, calm, patient, and dangerously intelligent. He understood that the strongest locks are useless if you know when they are open. Reynolds didn't rush. For months, he studied timetables, railway maps, security protocols, and human behavior. He knew that violence attracts attention, but information creates opportunity. Then came the insider, a senior Royal Mail security officer, a man trusted by the system itself. His name was never revealed. His face was never shown. But his knowledge changed everything. He revealed the existence of the high-value packages carriage, known quietly as HVPA, single carriage designed to carry huge amounts of cash. And more importantly, he revealed something chilling. On certain nights, that carriage traveled without alarms. The night chosen was no accident. August 7, 1963. The evening after a bank holiday. More money than usual. Nearly 12 times more. Almost £3 million stacked in bags, moving through the darkness inside a metal shell pulled by habit. At 6:50 p.m., the Royal Mail train left Glasgow Central Station, exactly on schedule. 12 carriages. 72 postal workers sorting mail under dull yellow lights. They joked. They worked. They trusted the night. None of them knew that men were already hiding beside the tracks, listening to the distant vibration of steel wheels, cutting through silence. As the train raced south, the countryside grew emptier. Villages disappeared. Roads faded. By the time it approached Sears Crossing, the world felt abandoned. This crossing was isolated, unguarded, forgotten. A perfect place to stop time. One man climbed the signal pole in total darkness. He blocked the green light with a glove. He powered the red light manually using a battery. The signal obeyed railway rules, but not reality. Then the man vanished back into the bushes, leaving behind a lie glowing in red. Driver Jack Mills had been on the railway for decades. 58 years old. Experienced, tired, loyal. When he saw the red signal ahead, confusion passed through him like a cold wind. Royal Mail trains were almost never stopped here, but training is stronger than instinct. He applied the brakes, the train slowed. The sound of metal faded. The night swallowed everything. Heartbeat grows louder, the train stopped. The assistant driver stepped down to use the trackside telephone. He lifted the receiver. Nothing. The line was dead. Before he could turn around, hands grabbed him from the darkness. A body slammed into his chest. He was dragged away without a sound. At the same moment, men climbed onto the engine from both sides. Jack Mills resisted. A metal bar rose and came down hard. The sound was dull. Final. He collapsed, bleeding into the driver's seat as consciousness left him. While chaos unfolded in the engine, another team worked silently. Couplings were released. The engine and the first two carriages were separated from the rest of the train. Behind them, dozens of postal workers sat confused, unaware that the front of their train and the future had been stolen. The robbers did not panic. Panic wastes time. They had planned this down to the second. Their destination was Bridego Bridge, just 1 kilometer away. Below it, a truck waited. Above it, history held its breath. But even perfect plans bend. The retired driver they brought froze when faced with the modern engine controls. He didn't know how to drive it. Seconds passed. Fear crept in. The solution was brutal. They revived Jack Mills. Injured, disoriented, bleeding. A man forced to drive the very train that had destroyed his life. At Bridego Bridge, the high-value packages carriage was broken open. Inside were 5 postal workers. They were beaten, tied, and thrown face. No screams traveled far. The countryside absorbed them. Then the bags began to move. 128 heavy bags soaked with cash, pounds, shillings, weight, sweat, breath, time. They had 15 minutes. A human chain formed. Hands passed bags down into the truck below. Every movement was calculated. Every second felt louder than sound. 120 bags were loaded. 8 were left behind. Time was gone. As they fled, one robber turned back and made a mistake, disguised as authority. He warned the staff not to move for 30 minutes or they would be killed. In the darkness, it felt powerful. In reality, it was fatal. The convoy disappeared into the night, reaching a farmhouse near Oakley 45 minutes later. They laughed. They ate. They played Monopoly using real money. But outside that farmhouse, Britain was waking up. Police calculated distance, time, speed. A circle formed. 50 kilometers. Helicopters lifted, radios crackled. A neighbor noticed movement where there should have been none. Police raided the farmhouse. Inside were mailbags, vehicles, traces of celebration, and on a Monopoly board, something invisible but deadly. Fingerprints, clear, identifiable. Every man had a criminal past. Scotland Yard matched them one by one. 14 arrests followed. 30-year sentences were handed down. The robbery of the century collapsed, not because of force, but because of arrogance. 2 men vanished completely. The replacement driver and the Royal Mail insider. The ghost who made it all possible. Jack Mills never drove again. The injury haunted him until his death 7 years later. Bridego Bridge still stands, quietly renamed by memory. And Britain learned a lesson written in silence, that the most dangerous crimes do not arrive with noise. They arrive calmly, patiently, hiding inside routine, waiting for a red light to appear where it never should.